Hello everyone, it's Michaela Valletta, also known as the Renaissance Amazon, and I am reporting live from Bogota, Colombia. I'm actually on a layover on my way from Cali, Colombia to Medellin, and so I'm using this time to do a little video for you all. Um, there are a lot of things that I wanted to talk about, my experiences traveling here, and I have decided that I'm going to do I'm gonna set up a new YouTube page that is going to be just for traveling, because there's a lot of little videos that I feel I would like to do about Colombia and about other places that I travel to, just giving you guys advice and tips for those of you who may be interested in traveling to some of these places, both nationally in the U.S. and internationally. So I will set that page up sometime today, and when I do, I will put the link below this video. So look out for that, okay? So this is my third time in Colombia. The first time I came here was to Cartagena in May of 2018, and then I came to Medellin y Cartagena and Cali in March of 2019, and then I came back here again April 18th of 2019, and I was supposed to go back I was only supposed to stay in Cali from April 18th to May 1st, and then when May 1st came, I didn't want to go back to the States. I actually wanted to stay here, so I decided to stay here until May 18th and just travel around the country a little bit more. I did want to go to Bogota, but I didn't bring the right clothes for Bogota because Bogota is a little bit more chilly. And when I left Chicago in March, it was actually in the 70s, even though it's in the 40s today, which is crazy. So I didn't bring like any sweaters or any warm clothes with me. So therefore, I skipped to Bogota because my suitcase is full, so I can't even buy any more sweaters to put in my bag or anything. So, but I missed my flight this morning from Cali to Medellin. It was a direct flight. And so now I had to fly to Bogota first and then Bogota to Medellin. So I'm in the airport in Bogota, and I like it. My experience in the airport in Cali, Medellin, and Cartagena, and Bogota, all these airports are really nice. They're like a lot nicer than a lot of U.S. airports. They're all very nice, very clean. They have good food in them. Colombia has good food, period. Like, I really love the food here. And so it's better to be stuck and have a layover in one of these airports than a lot of the airports in the States. Like right now, like I really don't drink too much coffee. I really am a tea person. I like to drink chai tea and green tea latte. I only really drink coffee when I'm in Latin America. Like for example, in Cuba, like I can't get chai tea or green tea at all. Like if I'm going to get caffeine, it's going to be in the form of coffee. And I'm not a big fan of coffee, but I do need caffeine. But in Colombia, they have Starbucks. Starbucks has green tea latte. And Starbucks has chai tea. But there are other places like Juan Valdez Cafe. All of you guys have heard of Juan Valdez. It's like their Starbucks, and they also have chai and matcha. So hold on, I'm gonna try to go live on. I'm going to try to go live on Instagram. So I'm not doing this video live for YouTube because, like, since I've been to Colombia, every time I do a live video, it's kind of blurry. And I didn't want to take that chance, so I'm just recording it on a regular camera. But I am going to go on IG Live just in case. So give me a moment. Let's see. One moment to those on YouTube. So I've done various videos about Colombia. Hold on. Hello to everybody out there in Instagram world. Hopefully you can see me okay. Let me know if this video is blurry or you can't hear me good, but regardless, on Instagram, I am recording this video for YouTube as well. So you can find this video on YouTube at the Renaissance Amazon. make sure you follow me on YouTube. And for people on YouTube, make sure you follow me on Instagram, the_Renaissance_Amazon_81. Okay, so continuing on with the conversation, because for those of you on Instagram, I already started this conversation on YouTube, so you can find the full video on YouTube. And if it's blurry on Instagram, again, you can find this video on YouTube because I'm recording it there on a regular camera to repost. So it's funny because like I've said before, I came to Colombia because of my interest in the dance, my interest in Afro-Colombian culture, music, dance. But I've been swept away by other things. Like, for example, Colombia is a great place to shop. Like, I feel like I only want to shop here, actually. Like, almost everything I'm wearing came from Colombia. So, like, this bracelet, I got this bracelet in Cartagena. It's leather. It's made of leather, and, like, I don't know, like, there's something hard in here. Very durable. These bracelets, I have a bunch of them that I got in Cartagena. These earrings I got in Cartagena. Now, these are bronze earrings. They're bronze, but gold-plated from the Museum of Gold. And I got these in Cartagena, and these might have been like $40 or something. I don't know, but I love the way they shine, right? Kind of shine like this nose ring. This nose ring I got in San Francisco. But I love jewelry from India. I love Indian jewelry and gold and how it's just very bright. So this, to me, goes perfectly. These glasses I got in Colombia. These glasses for my eye exam, for the frames are like non-scratch, non-reflective, all the things, all the special shit, made thin and all that. And Marc Jacobs frames, not that you have to have designer frames, but all of that costs $60 here. It would have cost me $600 or $700 in the States. Then this necklace, and this earpiece, also bronze, from Colombia and bathed in gold. And probably for this necklace and this earpiece was about $80. There's a lot of see, and then I got some stuff like this waist belt here. Oops. Let me take stuff out of here. See, it has these pockets. It has inside pockets. For those of you, and I got this is leather. I got this in the airport in Medellin. Last time I was here for like 50. Those of you who've been following me for a while, I always wear these waist belts. But I got a really fly one that's it's in my suitcase, but it's leather with fur. So it's made from la vaca, which is a cow. So it's like really soft leather with fur on the outside. It's really cute. It's more of a fanny pack, which I'm not a big fan of fanny packs, but it's like a cute one. And that shit was like really cheap. And I brought some back to sell for a woman who would like them. And so there's a lot of dope things in Colombia, like very good quality items that's very affordable. Also the food, okay? I think I've talked about this before, how much I love the food. So there are things that I love, and there are things that I get frustrated by, and that's why I want to do a separate YouTube video where I just talk about that. Cali today, one thing about Cali that kind of annoys me, and this is like the New Yorker in me, is that people move too goddamn slow. It's funny because people say that New Yorkers New Yorkers move so fast. I'm like, yeah, some people move too goddamn slow. Like, and that shit irks my nerves. I'd rather somebody move fast than move slow. Because if people move slow, it's kind of like they're assuming you have all day for shit. And you might be pressed for time. Like this morning, I missed my flight because my Airbnb host, I stayed in a beautiful Airbnb. I'll post my Airbnb links below. Because I paid on average like $15 a night for my Airbnbs. And they were really beautiful. So it wasn't like some rinky-dink Airbnb, no. Very clean, very nice. Nicer than things you would find in Miami or a lot of American cities, and very, very cheap. But my Airbnb host, she's an architect, and she was working with bamboo and indigenous forms of building. So they're still working on part of the place. And so when I was leaving this morning, she was talking my motherfucking ears off. And the thing that people don't know about me is that I'm kind of antisocial. And I really don't want people talking to me a lot of times. Like when I get in a taxi, even when I'm in the States, I want people to shut the fuck up and just drive. Because a lot of times I'm thinking about other things. I get in the car and I'm trying to handle business. I maybe, I have things to do. And like you're talking to me and it's distracting. Also, one thing I noticed, also in the States, I noticed this. A lot of people can't talk and drive. Like for me, I can talk and drive. I could talk to somebody and it doesn't affect my driving. But a lot of people, when they start talking to you, they start driving slower. They start getting in a slow lane. They want to look at you. I'm like, don't fucking look at me. Just look at the road and drive efficiently and get me to where I'm fucking going. Now, the thing about Colombia that kind of irritates me is that you have to get, when you call the taxi, or Cali is what I use, which is similar to Uber, they want you to sit in the passenger seat. And when you sit in the passenger seat, then they really want to talk to you. And sometimes I tell people I don't speak Spanish simply because I don't want to talk to them. Like I speak some basic Spanish. I understand Spanish better than I can speak it, but I can say enough to get by because you don't want to be here and not speak Spanish because people are not going to speak English to you. So just understand that. Which I actually learned today that the United States doesn't have a national language. I never knew that. I thought our national language was English. But this morning, as I was complaining to a friend of mine in New York, a Puerto Rican friend of mine in New York, about how even in the airport people don't speak English, and I was frustrated because I missed my flight and I was having issues, and like I understand a lot of Spanish and I definitely understand people in Colombia pretty well, but sometimes I don't, and when it's a complicated situation, sometimes it's hard to like be explaining things back and forth, and I was just like, can I just find someone that speaks English in this airport? Like, this is the airport. If you're in America, there's always somebody that speaks fluent Spanish in the airport, especially if you're in a tourist city. If you're in D.C., New York, Chicago, Miami, LA, San Francisco, there's going to be somebody that speaks Spanish, probably in almost any airport in New York City. In America. But here, it's not like that at all. So I remember I was complaining to him, like, damn, like, not even in the airport do people speak English. And then he told me, well, the United States doesn't have a national language. It's not English. We don't have one. And I never knew that. So it's actually in the best interest of all Americans to learn some Spanish because the biggest islands in the Caribbean speak Spanish. Cuba, Puerto Rico. Cuba is like way bigger than all the other islands. But then most of South America speaks Spanish. And the United States has an increasingly growing Spanish-speaking population. It's not like it's just one city anymore. It's like every city you go to. And I've been in plenty of places in the U.S. where I had to speak Spanish. So it's in your best interest to learn. But yeah, so my taxi driver, sometimes I tell them that I don't speak Spanish just because I don't want to talk. But just like in Cuba, it doesn't stop them. They keep talking to you. And I feel like in America, if somebody says that they don't speak English, people will leave you alone. They won't keep talking to you. Not here. So my taxi driver, it's like first my Airbnb host is talking my ears off, and I'm trying to leave. Then the taxi driver, I get in there, he's doing the same thing. He's driving all slow and shit. So anyhow, on my way out, I had to stop by this girl I know from New Orleans, who's been living here for 2 years. She lives in Cali. And I went by her apartment today as I was leaving because she got me some herb. She got me some Mary Jane. Yes, I do smoke weed, and I have no shame in that. Colombia, actually, another thing I like about Colombia that I discovered is that it's legal here. It's legal for people to grow 20 plants in their house, actually. And it's legal for someone to have 20 grams, I think, on them. Like, it's legal. I don't think it's legal to smoke it in public, but it's totally legal to have weed on you, to grow it in your house. They are actually leading the world or something with, like, medicinal marijuana. So there's like a big market for medicinal marijuana coming out of Colombia, which I didn't know about. So I want to do more research on that. And when I'm in Medellin, I definitely want to look into that more. And I'm also very curious about Bogota. So next time I come here, I'm definitely coming to Bogota. So Colombia is the textile capital of South America. So there's more research I want to do when it comes to textiles, because I don't even want to talk about some of my goals because I don't need the haters trying to be in my business. But I want to do more research with that. I want to do more research with the medicinal marijuana market here. It's a great place to keep learning Spanish because Colombians speak a very clear Spanish. Um, and yeah, so there's a lot of things I like about it. But anyhow, when I went by her house today, she lived in a beautiful part of Cali, El Piñon, which is a beautiful neighborhood. And she had a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. Big, pretty nice size bathroom and bedroom. Big living room, nice kitchen with a balcony. I asked her how much was her rent. She said $500 a month, right? And she had a woman cleaning. She pays a woman about 50,000 a week, I think, and 3,000 of their dollars is one of our dollars. So that's 50 divided by 3. So a little bit less than $20. Maybe that's like $16 or something like that. That's how much she pays for the cleaning lady, and I'm all about that because even in the States, I would rather hire somebody to clean my place, and I do sometimes because I'm busy, you know. And she was like, when you're working all day, who the fuck wants to come home and clean? I feel the same way. Like I feel like why you could pay somebody, especially when you have your own business. Like to me, I pay saving time is money. So if I'm paying somebody money that's going to help me save time, or I can use that time to make more money, then that makes sense. So I do clean, but I'll pay people to clean my place in the States. And I found a really good person, you know, but it's not uncommon for people to have maids and stuff in Colombia and in the Caribbean, super affordable. Now this friend of mine, she was an attorney. She's from New Orleans. She was an attorney in the States, and she told me, yeah, I was an attorney in the States, and I made money, but like she's living wonderfully in Colombia and happy about it, you know. And she was like, yeah, I travel, you know, this is my life. So I was like, wow, like it was so dope. It actually made me kind of consider living in Colombia for a second, because I mean, the reason why I moved to Chicago was because Chicago, to me, is such an affordable city for the quality of the city. I have a video where I talk about Chicago because a lot of people don't realize Chicago is a very beautiful city. Like, you just hear the negative, but there's a lot of positive about Chicago. And that's why I chose that city. Because to me, I can't think of any other city in the U.S. that could give me that quality of life for that price. And then, because I like to travel, you know, so I don't want to be tied down by bills where I can't go anywhere. But the only thing that would stop me from actually moving to Colombia is the fact that the men, you know, maybe in Cartagena, men tried to talk to me, but men don't say anything to me in Medellin. Well, I'm going back to Medellin this time. We'll see what happens. Last time I didn't venture out too much in Medellin, and I met some American guys that I was hanging out with. So let's see what happens this time when I go to Medellin. The only thing that happened last time when I was in Medellin, and I'm going to do a video about this on my other YouTube page. I said I'm going to start a YouTube page just for traveling, and I want to do one about dating. I want to do one about dating in Colombia as a woman, because a lot of men have done videos about that. I think it's probably a better place for men than it is for women. The only men that have said anything to me here have been old men. So to me, I would think like I wouldn't want to move someplace where dating is not really possible, or I have no sex life. Like that couldn't work for me. So I couldn't see myself necessarily moving here for that reason. Maybe a couple others, but I can see myself spending a lot of time in Colombia. There's a lot of things I like about this country. I feel like it's a hidden jewel. It's very up to date when it comes to technology, and it's pretty cheap and easy to travel around. But it's so funny, me and my antisocial self, I have moved so many times since I've been in this airport because I wanted to do this video without people surrounding me. And I was sitting someplace else, and I was the only one sitting there, and all of a sudden all these people were right next to me. And then I came really far away, like really far, there was nobody. Now I'm looking to my right, I see a baseball team. But whatever, I actually have to go soon to make the second flight. Another cool thing about Colombia is like, even in the airport, things are not really expensive. You know, in the States, you go to the airport, everything costs 10 times as much. It's not like that here. Even in the airport, things are really, really cheap. But I want to talk. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about my trip to the farmers market yesterday in Cali, and there was a lot of. I'm going to do some additional videos where I get more into that. But in the farmers market, there was all kinds of food, like cooked food, people selling cooked food, and fruits and vegetables and flowers. That was like the main things. Flowers. It was like huge, and there's so many people selling all kinds of flowers, all kinds of fruits and vegetables and herbs. But I'm not sure if those fruits and vegetables were actually organic, because even in the States, people sometimes will call something a farmer's market, and it's really not a farmer's market, because a true farmer's market is stuff that was like grown organically, or the farmers brought there. But I'm not quite sure for sure that that's what that was. I need to do more research on that. But one thing that I did notice at the farmers market in Cali, and this is La Galeria Alameda. Galeria Alameda. Oh, I thought I saw a rainbow. That one, there was a lot of like botanicas. There were lots of like IFA botanicas inside the farmers market, like so many of them, where you could buy whatever kind of stuff you needed for whatever rituals and spells, which I found interesting because it's hard to find a lot on the spirituality in Colombia. We know it's a very Catholic country. There's a lot that's been written on what's happened in Cuba, even Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, but in Brazil, right? But there's not a lot written on the spiritual beliefs in Peru, much Afro-Peruvians and Afro-Colombians. But there was definitely Ifa. So they definitely practice Ifa in Colombia. And so I was trying to research that. I think I'm going to have to look up books because Google wasn't giving me anything. And it was just right out there in the open, So it was just very interesting, and whatever they're doing, it's working because people there are happy, they're booed up. You see, like, to me, I don't even know how single people meet people because everybody seems booed up. But, like a lot of cultures, they might be booed up, but they cheat a lot, So, but, me, I believe in openness in a relationship anyway because I feel like a lot of people front and play games. People be having these secret lives. And so that definitely happens, from what I understand, in Colombia where everybody's booed up, but everybody's also cheating. That was my one experience, actually, when I was in Medellin. This one black dude, he was a black Colombian. He was like going crazy over my body, making it very obvious, which to me was like a little bit much because I'm like, there's a lot of beautiful women in Medellin. There's a lot of beautiful women in Colombia, like seriously. But he made it clear that he had a wife and kids and he wanted to have sex with me straight up. And I was like really not even interested in that at the moment, Later on, maybe I got curious, but I didn't really come here to mess with foreign dudes too much. Like, I would do it in Cuba, and I'm going to do another video about that for the ladies. Like, I would do it in Cuba over here, over Colombia. But men in Cuba, the dudes in Cuba look better. I feel like the women in Colombia look better, the men in Cuba look better. That's a whole nother video. But yeah, he definitely made it clear that he wasn't happy with his wife, but he has kids. And the thing about Spanish people, I don't care, male, female, I don't care what country it is, they are dedicated to their families regardless. Like, that's why when people see Cardi B put up with the shit she puts up with from Offset, she's Dominican. Like, they're not going to, if they have a baby with somebody, they're not just going to throw that away because the person cheated. They're not. And I can understand that. I value that. But again, I believe in openness in relationships. I believe in some level of openness because a lot of people cheat and then people break up families over some bullshit. So I feel like there's a respectful way to be a little bit open. A lot of people don't like it when I say that, but then everybody's cheating. But I do respect the fact that they put their family above somebody having a sexual desire, right? And so, yeah, like there's so much to say about Colombia. And I was pissed. Oh, yeah. So I was pissed this morning because I missed my flight. And I was supposed to have a direct flight from Cali to Medellin, which was like less than an hour. It was like a 50-minute flight. Missed the shit and got put on a flight to Bogota and with a 3-hour layover. And now my next flight leaves soon. That layover went by so fast. And so I like this airport in Bogota. It definitely makes me want to come back. It was $50 for me to fly from Cali to Medellin. But if I had flown to Bogota, like I was going to go to Bogota, but I didn't have the clothes because Bogota is more chilly, it was $27 to fly from Cali to Bogota. $27 to fly from Bogota to Medellin. But instead, I paid $50 to fly from Cali to Medellin, and then $40 to fly from Medellin to Cartagena, because on the 15th, I fly to Cartagena, and then I fly back to the States on the 18th. I fly to D.C. I'll be in D.C. for a couple of days before I go back to my hometown of New York City, and for my twin brother's graduation. So proud of him, graduating from Columbia School of Journalism, and it's just a reminder to me that I need to get on my writing. And then I'll be there for my dad's birthday, who turned 77, and all that good stuff, and then back to Chicago. So that's like really my adventures here. But like I said, I have a lot more to share about Colombia. I'm going to start another YouTube channel just for traveling, and it's going to be both domestic and international, because I travel around the United States too a lot, and there's a lot of cities in the U.S. that I've been to many times, and I have opinions on, whether it be about food, about the men, the women, the whatever, So yeah, I don't know. So if this video was blurry on Instagram, find it on YouTube, because I'm recording it for YouTube as well on a regular camera, so that I get one good version of it. There's so many things I want to say to you guys that when I get in front of the camera, I kind of forget all the things I wanted to say. But one thing in Colombia, which is, I've only seen this in New Orleans, like you could literally go to a coffee shop and get coffee with a shot of rum or a shot of whiskey or tea with Bailey's in it or rum in it, and just walk away or whatever, walk down the street. In Cali, you can get alcoholic drinks to go. Like, you can go get a margarita, just like in New Orleans, get it to go in a to-go cup, and it's totally fine. Also, I was telling you about the marijuana being very legal here. I stopped by my friend's house to get some in Cali before I flew here. And yes, I always have herb on me when I travel. And I have on every single flight since 2003. Maybe I shouldn't say that in this video, because they be watching me, but I do, and it's not hard. But I was just surprised at how much she gave me for 20 mil. So 20 mil is about a little bit more than $6 in U.S. money. And she gave me about what I would pay like $80 for in the States. Maybe like, 2/8 worth. Like, it could have been 7-8 grams, and it was $6. And there's, in Cali and in Medellin, but especially in Cali, they sell blunt wraps everywhere, rolling papers. Like, you could order all that shit off an app. You could order alcohol, you could order rolling papers, all that shit off of the app in Colombia. So, really, really interesting. Those are a lot of things I really like about this country. So go back and check out my other YouTube videos about Colombia. I'm going to do another video on the food again on my YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81. So when I'm talking about food and health and fitness, I'll be doing that on my YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81. And the cultural stuff, the Renaissance Amazon. But I'm going to start a separate YouTube page just for traveling, for those of you who want to travel to some of these places, and you have like little questions. And then somebody asked me when I'm going to Peru. I'm trying to go to Peru this summer. Next time I come to Colombia, I want to go to Peru, because you can fly to Peru very cheaply from Colombia. And if you're American, you should learn how to speak Spanish, because I'm telling you, Spanish is about to take over the U.S. I didn't know that we didn't have an official language in the U.S. I didn't know it. But I did read that the Spanish-speaking population has gone up 57% in the United States from 2013 to 2017. Now, I grew up in Washington Heights in New York City, which is a Dominican neighborhood, where I've heard Spanish all day my whole entire life growing up, but I just don't understand Dominicans, so I just tuned it out. But I have another Afro-American friend who grew up in the Lower East Side around Puerto Ricans, and it's funny because the same experience I say that I have here in Colombia with people constantly talking to me, even though I tell them I don't speak Spanish, even though I do a little bit, but I don't want them talking to me. They just keep talking to you. Ow! Just hit my yeah, they just keep talking to you. Well, my childhood friend from the 4th grade who grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan around Puerto Ricans, he told me the same thing. Like his best friend's grandmother used to keep talking to him like he spoke Spanish, and he's fluent now. But we also were in dual language together as kids. In elementary school, we were in dual language where we learned in Spanish. Our math books were in Spanish. Our teachers taught us in Spanish. So I talk about this all the time. So I have 2 childhood friends that are American that are fluent in Spanish from being in that program and then growing up around Puerto Ricans. I grew up around Puerto Ricans, but I grew up a lot more, like my neighborhood was mostly Dominicans, and I don't understand Dominicans. Mexicans and Colombians, I understand a lot better. Chicago has a big Mexican population, and Colombian. So I feel like in the U.S., you have the chance to learn all kinds of Spanish. You can learn Puerto Rican Spanish, Dominican Spanish, Mexican Spanish, Colombian Spanish. We have so many different Spanish-speaking people in the United States, and it's taking over. So it's in your best interest to learn Spanish, I practice my Mexican Spanish in Cali, California, in Chicago. I practice my Puerto Rican Spanish in Nueva York. Maybe try to learn what the hell Dominicans are saying, because I felt like in Havana, Cuba, they spoke more like Dominicans than anything, and I really didn't understand them. But let me go before I miss my second flight, and I will do more videos for you guys very soon, okay? Make sure you follow me on YouTube, The Renaissance Amazon. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at the_Renaissance_Amazon_81. And there's so much to say. Like, I've seen so many beautiful black women here that are very Afrocentric. That's the other thing. Black women in Colombia are Afrocentric like Afro-American women. I feel like no matter what city you go to in America, you find a lot of black women with natural hair now. Yes, you find a lot of weaves in the U.S., but you find just as many black women with locks, with afros, you see that a lot here. Like, I don't even see black women here with like weaves and wigs and perms like that. A lot of afros, a lot of locks, braids, men with locks. So you see a lot of Afrocentric style here, where you can't look at them and tell that they're not Afro-Americans. Like, they look just like us. And I noticed that in Cuba too. It's just that Cubans were even more stylish than they are here. They reminded me of New Yorkers, actually, with their very original style. Not that their style was like New Yorkers, but it was fly on the level of New York and original. But a lot of the Cuban, some of the black Cuban women looked like us, and some of them didn't. Their natural hair game wasn't quite as dope as Colombia, but there was also a lot of braids and stuff like that in Cuba. So yeah, those are just things. I definitely think Colombia is a hidden jewel. I have a lot to say about it. I love this place. And there's so many other places I want to go to in Colombia. I will be back a lot. I will be coming back here a lot. Trust me. Okay, so make sure you check out my other videos, and have a good day, people. Bye. Everybody's all up in my damn camera. Okay, bye, people.